Hello everyone. We are super happy today. We are in DevFest UAE. We are super glad and happy to have Mr. Mete with us today. First of all, Mr. Mete, can you please present yourself to our audience?
Sure, yeah. My name is Mete Atamel. I'm a developer advocate at Google Cloud, developer relations team based in London. And yeah, I've been at Google for 9+ years now. And then, yeah, before Google, I was a software engineer in various companies for close to 10 years or so.
Great. Then, Mr. Mete, your career is diverse. Then you said that you are, first of all, a software engineer. Then you are a developer advocate in Google. Yeah. Then can you please tell us about this experience, how you move from the technical maybe part to the development advocacy?
Yes, that's a good question. So I've been doing software engineering at this time for 10 years, and I love building things. But also the highlights for me in my work was always going to conferences at the end of the year and explaining people what I built and how I built it. So as a software engineer, I was already doing that, but I was only doing it for once a year or maybe twice a year because you never have time, Right. And then at some point I learned about this field called developer relations, where your job is basically to go out more often and teach people and explain people the things you're building and how technology works. So that's when I decided to do the switch, because I felt like I did enough building. Now it's time to actually tell people about it. And yeah, that's what I've been doing since then.
Then it's not just the technical things matter, but also the advocacy help people to learn and to got the right way to learn new technologies. Then we will go deeply or technically. I will ask you, Mr. Mete, some people asking in the last 2 years, maybe more or maybe less, Google focus in the AI, especially generative AI. We see the great announcement of the Nano Banana. We see many people use it in social media to create many trends, to ameliorate the quality of photos, to generate new photos. Maybe we can ask to generate, to merge two photos, the photos in past and in the present. Maybe there is people asking about how Google ensure the security of this data.
Right. So you're right. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on AI and AI tools lately. And I think that's because it's a new thing and it's a new paradigm, and people want to learn how they can use it. And it's a new way of doing things. And I think that's why we are talking more about it. But this doesn't mean that we don't care about anything else. You still need to run these applications on an infrastructure in the cloud, and that infrastructure still has to be secure. It needs to be scalable. So all the things that we talked about before, they still apply, except now it's getting more complicated because now you have the AI in the middle, and AI has its own challenges. For example, if you are feeding your data to AI, let's say you have some private data, now you need to think about, okay, do I want to feed that to the model, or is there something I can do basically before sending that to the model? And by the way, you can do a lot of things in the middle, like masking the data using model armor on Google Cloud, for example. So that's one thing you can do. And similarly, when the model responds back to you, you can't just pass that back to the user. You still need to put some guardrails in place and make sure that what you're passing back is actually safe and secure. And again, there are things you can do there. I mean, there's safety settings that you can set in the model itself to make sure that it doesn't do anything toxic. But at the same time, you can also put something in the middle like model armor again to make sure that whatever you're getting from the AI is in the form that you want before you pass it to the user. So there's a lot of safeguards in place that you could put to make sure that whatever you are putting in and out of AI is safe and secure. And on top of that, you have the typical, authentication, authorization, network policies, and all that kind of stuff that we already do anyway, but they still apply to AI applications.
Yes, then everything is safe, everything is secure in the Google Cloud platform, and you can use it. The generative AI, especially the Gemini, the Vertex AI, every Google Cloud services is safely.
Yeah, and I should also mention that people ask me quite a lot, oh, I'm sending all these prompts to Vertex AI. Do you use it for training, all that? And the answer is no. I mean, that's the whole point of having an enterprise product like Vertex AI, where we don't train with your data. I mean, the data is your data. we train with other data that we have. So yeah, you don't need to worry about safety of your data or whether it's being used for training or anything like that on Vertex AI.
Okay, great. Then if you are watching this video to learn and build new technology, you are in the right place. I want to ask you, Mr. Mete, about the future of AI, especially in the Google company. We see a huge announcement, a huge things, as you said, the Gemini, the Nano Banana model, there is many other models, but this is the famous one.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of AI in maybe 5 years? It's our question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question to answer because, as you see, like every few months there's something new. Mm-hmm. So who knows how things will be in 5 years.
Yes.
But what I would say is that, I mean, if the pace of innovation continues like it is today, I think we'll be in a different world where AI is kind of integrated in everything we do. From, designing our application to coding our application to running our application. I think that whole life cycle will be driven by AI, and maybe our role will shift from kind of writing to kind of directing AI in a way. That's how I see it, but we'll see.
Great. There is a question in the mind of every developer. If AI replaces developers?
Yeah, I mean, it's in my mind too. I think, well, depends how you see it. So if you see your role as someone who just writes a piece of code in certain language and that's it, then maybe we should be worried about our jobs because AI can generate code and it will get better and better to generate that code. But I feel like a software engineer's role is much more than that. It's not just writing code, but it's designing systems, integrating with existing systems, talking with stakeholders, making sure that the system is scalable, operational, all that kind of stuff, right? So I think in that sense, I'm not worried because our job is not as easily as automatable as people think. But I feel like it will get easier in the sense that all the low-level details that you have to figure out, like which library should I use or how do I generate this code, it will probably go away with the help of AI, and our role will be at a higher level where we are just directing different agents to do the tasks that we want. So we still need a person to drive that, I think. And so that's why I'm not worried personally, but again, I don't know.
Okay, then always we need the human touch, we need the human configuration or something like that to advance in this part. Then if one of our audience, like our session, see it good, he wanna start a career in Google Cloud, in the GCP platform especially. Can you tell us a small roadmap maybe to start from scratch?
Yeah, so how do you get started with Google Cloud from scratch? I think the best way to start is basically start with documentation, because documentation is basically the building blocks of like what you can do on Google Cloud. Then from documentation, you'll get into samples, so the actual code on how to build services and how to run them. So that's the next step. And then after that, you can look into either courses or certifications. So on Coursera or even on Google Cloud, there's a bunch of different courses that you can take. So the more courses you take, usually the better, because you can get exposed to different things. If you want to make sure that you are doing this in a structured kind of way, then there's certifications where it kind of focuses you on a certain path. So that not only helps you to actually learn, but at the end go for an exam, and that can motivate people to actually put a deadline and make sure that they're actually learning in a certain path. And then, but I think these are all nice, but for me, the biggest learning is actually building something. So once you know the basics, then what I would advise people is come up with an idea, come up with an application idea where you want to build something, and then see if you can do it. And especially with AI now, you don't need to know everything. If you're not a front-end developer, I'm not a front-end developer, but I can use AI now to generate this simple front-end and then talk to my back-end. So I think that's the best way of learning, because that's when you actually get into the code and actually practice and figure out what you need to know. Because it's hard to know what you don't know, but then if you're building, you kind of have to figure it out. So that's what I would suggest. Like learn the basics with docs and samples and all that. But as soon as you do that, start building something.
Great. Then, by the way, I start my career in the Google Cloud platform, especially with something called Google Cloud Skills Boost. This is especially for students. We can get for free trial. In this platform, we have videos from Googlers. Also, we have labs, and you can get a small test and in the end of your journey to see your level, if you are learn or just skip the video. Then maybe now we can talking more about something technical. I prefer this question to its use case for the critical RAG system, which better using the suggestion or the judgment LLMs, or just use the general RAG.
Okay. So for people who don't know RAG, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and it's a way to augment your LLM with your own data so that it can hallucinate less, and it can also use your data when it answers the questions. And I think your question is, how do you evaluate that? What's the right way? Do you use metrics, or do you use a model to evaluate it? So in RAG systems, there's like retriever part and there's the generation part. And for each part, actually, there's some metrics that you can use to measure. If I remember correctly, the retrieval part has contextual relevancy, contextual precision, and I think contextual recall. And then for generation, there's answer relevancy and also groundedness. So these are the metrics that you can use. I think you can start with these metrics because they're well understood and they test the two different parts of RAG. But then a RAG system is not just about how do you retrieve your document and how relevant is it. It also has basically an answer, and you need to also measure that answer given the question. So for that, I think you need to define your own metric, whatever metric is important to you, and use that. So for that part, maybe you will need a model as a judge kind of thing, where you define the metrics that's important to you, and then use a model to see if the actual response after the RAG is actually a good one. So yeah, it's a combination of both, basically. Like, use the typical RAG metrics to make sure that your RAG system is actually good, and then after that, use a model-based metric, one or two, to make sure that your response is actually good.
Great. It's not a question, it's an advice. If you have an advice to give it to someone, it's general, not just for Google Cloud or for Cloud AI. If you want to give someone a gold advice.
Gold advice.
Yeah.
Well, I think in tech, the main advice I can give is keep learning, because everything changes. Especially now with AI, things are changing even faster. I always feel like a beginner because, it's true, because every other year there's a big paradigm shift and then you have to start from scratch again. And I think the good thing about AI nowadays is that everyone is starting from the beginning, except maybe if you're an AI researcher, maybe you know a little bit more about the underlyings of AI. But everyone's trying to use AI. We are all trying to figure out like how this thing works. And every time a new model comes, it's slightly different behavior. So you have to play with it. You have to experiment and see how it works. So I think to be successful in tech, you have to be open to change, and you have to be open to learning and be comfortable with being a beginner every other year. So that's my advice, basically.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then just learn, build, and always practice, because like Mr. Mete said, if you just read and something and we don't practice it, maybe you got forget it.
Exactly. It's hard to kind of retain something if you don't actually use it.
Yes.
Right?
Then that's great. Also, I want to tell you that we have a lot of for free resources if you want to start learn cloud. We are now in the GDG Sharqa. There is a community full of community in Google. There is many communities for students called GDG on Campus and GDG, and also the Google Developer Expert Community. Google offers many resources, always for free. Then you don't have to be waiting. Just start now, learn, build, and you will be an expert. Okay, then thank you so much, Mr. Mete. If you have anything to add it.
No, thanks for having me. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you for accept our invitation, and I hope you are enjoying this day here in the Middle East, and I hope to see you also in Tunisia.
Hopefully, yes.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Merci.